Companies are practically drowning in just vast amounts of internal data. You've got tangled code bases, sprawling documentation. Finding what you need, let alone making sense of it all, it's a constant battle, really. And every team is on the hunt for new ways to sort of supercharge their productivity and truly empower their engineers. That's why in this deep dive, we're cutting through the noise to explore a really powerful solution, building your own internal AI assistant, often called a developer copilot. Think of it like a custom-trained brain designed specifically to slice through that information overload and deliver immediate, highly relevant answers tailored specifically to your organization.
Exactly. And our mission here in this deep dive is to unpack a really comprehensive guide on exactly how to build such an assistant, from the ground up. We're here to extract the most important nuggets of knowledge, making sure you're not just informed, but genuinely well prepared. Prepared to understand how this transformative technology can really revolutionize your internal operations. Let's uncover some practical insights and maybe, a few surprises along the way.
Sounds great. So we'll define precisely what this AI should do, unravel the cutting-edge technologies involved, we'll peel back the layers of its architecture, and then walk you through the step-by-step process of actually bringing it to life. And we'll even look at some clever options for rapid deployment and explore some really exciting future enhancements too. So where do we even begin with a project this, ambitious? The guide makes it really clear the very first step isn't about code, it's about clarity. It emphasizes this crucial need to clearly define what your internal AI assistant should actually achieve. Why is defining that mission, so foundational?
Well, what the guide really hammers home is that the biggest pitfall isn't necessarily choosing the wrong LLM or the wrong tech. It's failing to define one painfully specific problem your AI will solve. That's the key. Without that clarity, you risk building, just a generic chatbot that adds little tangible value. Instead of, a precision tool that solves real high-impact problems, this initial clarity, it becomes your true North Star, really guiding every single development effort that follows.
That really drives home the value, yeah. And the guide provides some incredibly relatable examples of these specific high-impact use cases. Like, imagine an AI assistant that can answer complex architecture questions, like how does the authentication flow work in Service X? Or maybe what's the data model for the user profile service? That's a massive efficiency game right there, isn't it?
Absolutely. Huge.
Or consider its power in helping engineers truly understand and explain code bases. You could ask queries like, explain the purpose of this function, or describe how this class interacts with other services, or even generate unit tests for this module. I mean, that's a game changer for daily workflows.
Definitely. Think about the time saved just on that.
And it can even parse and explain pull requests, PRs and review comments, instantly telling you, summarize the changes in this PR, or are there any breaking changes? Maybe even, does this PR follow our coding standards? And for broader organizational knowledge, imagine it's searching or summarizing internal docs across Confluence, Notion, GitHub wikis. You could ask, find the policy on remote work, or summarize the Q3 financial report. Just like that.
Right. It pulls information from everywhere.
And for new team members, this assistant could be just an invaluable onboarding bot, answering questions like, where can I find the front-end repository? Or explain our CI/CD pipeline. It could even help navigate file structures and APIs. Show me all API endpoints related to user management.
Yeah, it cuts down that ramp-up time significantly.
So what does this all mean for you, the listener? These specific use cases really highlight the immediate practical value and the immense potential for a significant productivity boost across various internal functions, from engineering straight through to HR. It's about more than just convenience. It's really about democratizing knowledge, making it accessible.
Precisely.
Okay, so once the what is crystal clear, the guide moves on to the how, specifically the technology. What does this deep dive recommend for the foundational tech stack?
Right. Selecting the right tech stack is indeed crucial. You need to think about performance, scalability, and just ease of development. And the guide reveals a really key insight here. For maybe 80% of your build, you should probably focus on a boring tech stack. Leveraging mature, widely adopted tools. Don't reinvent the wheel unnecessarily. The real innovation, the secret sauce, comes in that final 20%, tailoring it specifically to your unique internal data.
Okay, so stick with the tried and tested for the core.
Exactly. So for your LLM backend, you've got robust options. There are cutting-edge proprietary models like OpenAI's GPT-4 or GPT-4 for really top-tier performance. Or there are powerful open-source alternatives like Anthropic's Claude, Google's Gemini, Mistral AI, and Llama from Meta. Those give you more control, maybe more cost efficiency, depending on your needs, than for retrieval augmented generation, or RAG, which is how the AI finds and uses your internal knowledge. Frameworks like LangChain and LlamaIndex are pretty much the go-to orchestrators.
All right, that's the key piece for internal data, right?
Absolutely. That's what makes it specific to you. Then when it comes to embeddings, those are like unique numerical fingerprints for your text. You can use OpenAI embeddings, Google embeddings, or open source sentence transformers. And these fingerprints, these embeddings, they get stored in a specialized search engine called a vector database. Here you've got solid choices like Pinecone, Weaviate, Qdrant, or maybe ASCIIs for local stuff. For the user interface, well, you're looking at React and Next.js for full web applications, or maybe Streamlit for quick Python UIs. Or you could go for direct integrations, like a Slack bot, a Microsoft Teams bot, or even a VS Code plugin right in the editor.
So lots of options for where people interact with it.
Yeah, meet them where they work. And on the backend server side, popular choices are Python with FastAPI or Flask, Node.js with Express, Java with Spring Boot, or go with Gin, standard stuff. And crucially, authentication. Integrating with Auth, Okta OAuth 2, OpenID Connect, or whatever your existing enterprise SSO system is. That's paramount, non-negotiable.
Okay, that's quite a list of components.
It is. And it brings us to, a critical question. How do all these individual pieces actually fit together? The guide introduces a pretty common architectural blueprint. It essentially turns your internal knowledge base into a powerful Q&A system using that RV approach we mentioned.
Right, the blueprint. Let's visualize that. It seems to really clarify the data flow. You've got your user interfaces, Slack, web app, VS Code plugin, whatever. They connect to a chat API layer. This layer acts like the gatekeeper, handling routing and authentication.
Exactly, the front door.
From there, it talks to the RIG plus prompt engine plus LLM integration component. That sounds like the brains of the operation, orchestrating all the calls.
That's right. It manages the whole process.
And this engine then queries your vector database, that specialized search engine holding all your embedded documents and code, which of course is constantly being fed by your various document sources, GitHub repos, Notion, Confluence, shared drives, even Jira tickets. So it's a really clear path for information, isn't it? From the source, through the system, right to the user's answer.
Precisely. It lays it all out.
All right, so that's the what and the where. Now for the how, the actual building process. The guide breaks it down into 5 key phases. Looks like it focuses on robust data ingestion, intelligent interaction, and importantly, continuous improvement.
Yes. Step 1 is document and code ingestion. This is where your AI assistant truly starts to learn about your specific organization. It's the critical first phase where all that internal knowledge gets fed into the system, making it searchable by the LLM. It involves using, crawlers or ingestion tools to load data from sources like GitHub repositories, that's code, Reados, PR descriptions, and also internal documentation platforms, think PDFs, Notion Pages, Confluence Spaces.
So just pulling in all the raw material first.
Exactly. Then, once you have that raw data, you process it. This means converting it all to plain text and then chunking it. So breaking down large documents or code files into smaller, more manageable pieces, like say 1,000 characters per chunk, maybe with a 200-character overlap between chunks.
Okay, why the overlap?
Good question. Think of it like reading a book. You want each chapter or chunk to make sense on its own, right? But you also want a little bit of context from the end of the previous chunk and the start of the next one. That overlap ensures you don't lose critical meaning right at the boundary between chunks. It helps maintain the flow of information for the AI. These text chunks are then embedded into numerical vectors, like giving each piece of text that unique numerical fingerprint we talked about.
Capturing the semantic meaning.
Exactly. Text with similar meanings get similar fingerprints. And finally, these embeddings get stored in a vector database. Something like FAISS if you're just developing locally, or maybe Pinecone, Weaviate for production. This allows for incredibly fast similarity search, finding the most relevant chunks quickly.
Got it. So step 2 is about building the chat interface and that R flow. This is where you set up the actual conversation part and the core logic, right?
Precisely. And what's fascinating here is how frameworks like LangChain or LlamaIndex orchestrate this whole RAG pipeline. So a user asks the question, their query gets embedded just like the documents were. Then that query embedding is used to search your vector database for the most relevant document chunks. These retrieved chunks are then combined with the user's original question and a specific system prompt. The system prompt is basically instructions for the LLM guiding how it should answer.
Ah, so you tell it how to use the information.
Exactly. This complete package question, context, chunks, instructions is sent to your chosen LLM. The LLM then generates an answer based only on that provided context. And the real genius of our egg, as the guide points out, is how it grounds the LLM in your organization's specific truth. It effectively prevents those, hallucinations or made-up answers you hear about with generic AI models. It's a really powerful way to ensure accuracy when dealing with your unique internal data.
That makes a lot of sense. Keep it factual, based on our stuff. And for that front-end UI, the interface, the guide mentions tools like Streamlit for quick prototypes, or going with something like React or Next.js for more robust, production-ready web applications.
Yep, standard web dev tools usually fit the bill there.
Okay, so step 3 gets into prompt engineering. The guide frames this as the art and science of crafting effective instructions for LLMs. It emphasizes needing different prompt templates for different use cases. How does this art translate into concrete examples?
Yeah, art and science is a good way to put it. You definitely need specific templates to guide the LLM's behavior and tone for different tasks. It's not one size fits all. For example, for code understanding, you might use a senior software engineer assistant prompt. This would instruct the LLM to explain a code snippet's purpose, its inputs, its outputs, potential issues, that kind of thing. For architecture understanding, maybe a technical architect prompt that would guide the LLM to answer questions clearly, concisely, maybe even suggest examples or high-level diagrams.
Tailoring the persona, almost? Kind of, yeah. Or tailoring the goal. For PR review, you could have a code reviewer bot prompt. This guides the LLM to explain the changes in a PR, check for best practices based on your standards, identify missing tests using the PR description and the code diff as context. And for internal document search, a prompt like, "You are an assistant trained on company documentation." This would emphasize providing accurate answers only from the provided context, and crucially stating something like, "Information not found in current context," if the answer just isn't there.
Right. Telling it it's okay not to know. Better than making stuff up.
Absolutely. That prevents misinformation internally.
Okay, moving on to step 4. Security and access. This feels, absolutely critical for an internal tool handling sensitive company data.
I couldn't agree more. It's paramount. Non-negotiable. Critical security measures include ensuring document access is properly role-based. So for instance, finance documents should only be visible or retrievable by the AI for members of the finance team. This requires really deep integration with your existing access control systems like Active Directory or whatever you use. So the AI respects existing permissions.
It must. You also need strong authentication, like single sign-on SSO or maybe JWT-based authentication. This restricts who can even use the bot in the first place, ensuring only authorized employees have access. And finally, implementing robust data encryption is essential, both for data in transit, over the network, and data at rest, like in your vector database or any cached information.
Okay, lock it down tight. Makes sense.
And then for step 5, the guide really stresses a crucial point. You have to improve continuously. An AI assistant like this is never really done. It needs ongoing, iterative refinement based on how people are actually using it and the feedback they give.
So how do you actually do that continuous improvement?
Well, the process involves systematically logging queries and responses. You need to store the user questions, the context the LLM used to answer, and the answers it generated. This log becomes invaluable for analysis later. You also need to implement feedback mechanisms. Simple things like thumbs up, thumbs down buttons on the answers. This gives you direct user input, which is gold. Then you need to regularly analyze the unsatisfactory responses, especially the thumbs down ones. Look for patterns. Are there common failure modes? Is it hallucinating? Is it pulling irrelevant context? Is the information simply outdated? And as an optional long-term step, once you've gathered enough high-quality domain-specific interaction data, you might even consider fine-tuning a smaller, maybe open-source LLM. This can lead to even better, more precise performance on your very specific internal tasks.
Interesting. So constantly learning and getting better. Now, for those listeners who are eager, maybe impatient to get something functional up and running quickly, the guide points to the fastest way to deploy it internally. What's the quick start route?
Yeah, for rapid deployment, an open-source Python-based stack is usually highly recommended. It's often the quickest path. Typically, you'd use something like Streamlit for the chat front end. It's great for building simple UIs fast. Then LangChain, combined with FAISS API for your backend, and the ARG logic. For the vector database, AVIs is excellent for running locally on a single machine. Or if you need a cloud solution that scales, Pinecone or Weaviate are good options. And for the LLM itself, well, OpenAI's GPT-4 or the newer GPT-4o are really excellent choices just for their raw performance and ease of use via API.
Okay, and the guide breaks this fast deploy option down into, looks like, 2 core scripts, makes it sound quite accessible.
It is pretty straightforward to get a basic version running. First, you'd have an ingest_embed.py script, more or less. Its job is to load your documents, chunk them up, create the embeddings, and save them into that local FAISS vector database. And then you'd have an app.py Streamlit script. This creates the simple chat UI. It loads the EIS database you just created and uses a LangChain retrieval QI chain. That's that common pattern we keep mentioning. It takes a user's question, retrieves the relevant document chunks from FAISS, bundles it all up, and sends it to the LLM to generate the answer. It's a very practical starting point.
Nice. A way to get hands-on quickly.
Exactly. And for those looking to maybe accelerate development even further, or perhaps explore more mature pre-built solutions, there are several ready-to-use frameworks out there that can jumpstart your project. Dancer, for instance, offers a full RA-based internal assistant solution. It comes complete with a web UI and even Slack integration out of the box. There's OpenDevin, which is more focused specifically as a developer assistant, aiming for code-based reasoning and even some autonomous coding capabilities. LangChain also offers template apps, which provide pre-built starting points you can adapt. And something like Continue.dev is really interesting. It's a VS Code extension that brings a local AI assistant right into your IDE. You can train it on your code base for really context-aware help while you're coding.
Wow, okay. So options range from DIY to more off-the-shelf solutions. All right, let's conclude our core discussion by looking ahead a bit. Beyond the basic working assistant, what are some optional features or enhancements to make it even more powerful and deeply integrated?
Oh, these enhancements are where things get really exciting, showing the potential evolution of such a tool. You could integrate it directly with GitHub PRs, for example. Imagine it automatically summarizing new pull requests as they come in, or allowing developers to ask specific questions directly about the changes in a PR.
That would save so much time in code reviews.
Yeah, absolutely. You could also build dedicated Slack or Teams integrations, proper bots. This allows for seamless interaction right within the communication channels people already use. It brings the AI to where the work actually happens. You could even have something like a daily code changes summary bot, proactively summarizing key commits for specific teams or projects each morning. Or think about automatically explaining a legacy code. Just point the assistant at older, maybe less documented parts of your code base and have it generate explanations or even suggest potential refactoring opportunities.
Tackling technical debt with AI, huh?
Sort of, yeah. Helping understand it, at least. And going beyond just explanation, you could enable interactive code generation. The assistant could generate code snippets based on natural language requests, maybe even adhering to your internal coding standards right there in the IDE. And finally, a really advanced step is embracing tool use, or what they call agentic capabilities. This means enabling the LLM to actually call specific internal tools or APIs. So you could ask it, look up user X in the CRM, or run this diagnostic script for service Y, and it could actually do it.
Wow, so it becomes an active participant, not just a knowledge source.
Exactly. It transforms from a passive assistant into an active helper.
These enhancements really do emphasize the iterative nature, don't they? Building a truly impactful AI assistant is a journey. It's something that not only adapts, but really grows with your organization's evolving needs, potentially becoming an indispensable part of the team. We've certainly covered a lot of ground today in this deep dive, haven't we? From defining the core purpose of an internal AI assistant to understanding its intricate architecture, walking through the implementation steps, exploring those rapid deployment options, and even peeking into its really exciting future possibilities.
Yeah, and if we connect this all back to the bigger picture, the immense value proposition here is pretty clear, I think. Such an assistant can significantly boost productivity across the board. It really democratizes internal knowledge, making it accessible to everyone. And it provides a powerful, custom-trained tool for navigating even the most complex, nuanced information that's unique to your specific organization.
Absolutely. Yeah. So here's something to think about as we wrap up. What possibilities does having an internal, custom-trained AI assistant open up for your team or company? Possibilities that a generic, off-the-shelf AI simply cannot address. How might this transform collaborative work or speed up problem-solving in those specific, nuanced areas that are totally unique to your organization? Something to mull over.